Jiggy cat on a damn killing spree. This is Nagato, and you can't mimic my energy. 100 rounds strong and be hanging like a centipede.
Yo, what's up everyone, it's me Nagato's Revenge and welcome back to the channel. For today we're going to be talking about a highly exciting topic related to the PlayStation 4 scene, and that deals with the 9.0 jailbroken exploit that just released as of last night. I remember just looking on Twitter and I've seen thousands of tweets regarding the actual exploit that has just dropped out, which is pretty exciting to say that this exploit as well is for a higher firmware, which is 9.00, and is deemed more stable from what I've been hearing around the scene. If you guys know anything about 7.55, a lot of people did not like updating to that system firmware to hack their systems, since the actual WebKit exploit itself was very unstable and it took probably an hour to 30 minutes just to even get your system fully in a jailbroken state, just so you could run any like payloads, mods, or anything like that. However, since this is for 9.00 firmware, this opens many users who have been waiting since for almost a year or so to basically jailbroke their system on like a very high firmware. Since I think now 9.03 is the latest for PlayStation 4, 9.00 allows many people to tune in for that. In today's video, I'm going to be updating my PlayStation 4 that is on 7.55, which this is the system right here, if you could tell by on the screen, and I'm going to be showcasing to you guys on how to get from 7.55 to 9.00 and how to install GoldHEN. With all of that being out the way, let's go ahead and tune in back into the PC and I'll meet you guys on how to set this up. Alrighty, so as of right now, we're back onto the actual PlayStation 4 system. What I do want to go ahead and state, there are some key prerequisites as well as some key notes so everyone is on the same page for this process. Right now, I'm going to be showcasing to you guys, if I go into my settings, scroll all the way down to system. Haven't been on a PS4 for a while, so 1 second. System information, and you can see here that I am on 7.55 firmware. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and teach you guys on how to safely update to 9.00 firmware in a second. However, I do want to go ahead and cover some prerequisites so everyone is on the same page. First things first, you will need a USB, preferably one that is new or something that you don't care about, since this USB should act as your main provider for the actual exploit itself. So I have a ton of USBs inside my house, so I'm going to just be using one that I don't care about. And for this process as well, if you have anything special on your USB, such as like important documents and data, please make sure to go ahead and back it up for this process, since we're going to be writing a exFAT hex .image to the USB itself, which will be later covered on in this tutorial. Note, please make sure to follow everything stated in this guide. I'm not responsible if you somehow accidentally update to 9.03 or something like that. Just as long as you follow everything in a guide, and anything that I will state will be in a link in the description down below and in my pinned comments. If you're used to my YouTube channel, you already know that I give y'all guys all the supplemental readings and resources for that. But with all of that getting out the way in terms of prerequisites, we'll also be needing to use Al Azar's DNS, which we're going to be launching a payload from. And with that being all out the way, what we're going to do now is go ahead back to the PC. We're going to download the actual 9.00 firmware, and then any of the necessary files we're going to get from GitHub and any other resources. So I'll meet you guys back for that process. Alright, so as of right now, we're back onto the actual PC, and now we're going to go ahead and download everything that we need for this process today. First things first, if you're already on 9.00 firmware, you could go ahead and exclude what I'm saying now. However, if you're on like a lower firmware such as 7.55 or anything not 9.00, then you could go ahead and download from this website. And this is a archive from Darthsternie, and I've used this website multiple times for the PlayStation 3 and Vita. And this has basically a repo of all of the firmwares for, you know, said system. Note, please do not touch anything from official beta firmwares or firmware patches or anything that are like for dev kits or anything. What we're going to go ahead and do is download the official firmware 9.00, and we're going to be using this MD5 hash just so we know that our firmware is not corrupt or any shape or form, and we're downloading the actual file so we can, you know, check its validity of such nature. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and hit the download button. Mind you, this website will be in the link description down below. And then yeah, we're just going to go ahead and wait for this download. Since from archive.org it may take a little while, just to save time on this video, I will cancel it since I've already downloaded this file on my PC here, as you can see. But once it downloads for you, it should be in your download folder or wherever you store your you know, downloads on your web browser. What we're going to do is go ahead and we're going to type in here OnlineMD5 hash. So, and I'll have this in this link in the description down below. This website, OnlineMD5, this is where we're going to be checking our firmware hash version. So what we're going to do is go back onto Darthsternie's firmware website. We're going to just highlight over this MD5 hash. We're going to right click and copy, and then right where it says compare with, we're going to go ahead and paste. Now what we're going to do is either you could just click here, or you could drag and drop, whatever you want to. We're going to go to our desktop or wherever you have your update file at, and we're going to go to PS4 update.pub. So right now what it's doing, it's uploading to this website so we can check the file, check some of this file, and that means we're ready to go and get started on putting this on our PlayStation 4 so we can update to 9.00 firmware. So right now I am just waiting for this process. It shouldn't take too long, but what you want to do as of right now, as this is doing its thing, go ahead and grab your USB, and we're going to go and set this up on the USB side. So it got, you know, a few seconds to go. Alright, so as you can see here, please do not proceed on if you do not see that your file checksums are matching once you download the Darthsternie's firmware. Please make sure you're not downloading 9.03, because if you do, you will not be able to go further on with this since this exploit has been patched on that firmware. Please go ahead and select 9.00. But with that being out the way, now we have verified that our file checksums are good. We're going to go into our file explorer here, and we're going to go and select our USB that we're going to be utilizing for the actual update. So first things first, make sure that your thing is either formatted to FAT32 or exFAT. In my case, you could just hit right click, properties, and then you can see that your system's on NTFS or exFAT or FAT32. If it's on NTFS, we'll need to reformat our USB. In this case, what we need to do, if your thing's on NTFS, is just right click, hit format. And if it's on NTFS, you could go ahead and hit exFAT. Allocation unit size, you can do default allocation. Volume label, it really doesn't matter. I just had my name as PS3 bug since PS3 debug, since I use this for PlayStation 3, but for today I'll just use it for PS4. Make sure you have quick format on, and then you will need to hit start. Once again, this will just, you know, tell the user that basically reformatting formatting will erase all your data on your disk. If you hit OK, basically you will lose everything on this flash drive. So please make sure to back up any important documents or data that you may have on here. So go ahead and hit OK. Once you get format complete, what you want to do is go ahead back into File Explorer. So that's what I'm doing here. Go ahead and find the selective drive that you just reformatted. What we're going to do is create a folder, right click, new folder, and then we're going to label this as PS4 in all capital letters. And then inside that folder, we're going to make another one, right click, open new, and we're going to call this update. Now that we have done this, we're going to drop our ps4.update.pub within to this directory right now. So you can just drag and drop right here. And now once that is done, what we're going to do is go ahead and install this firmware onto our PlayStation 4. So right now it got 45 seconds. So what I'll do is cut out the video here, just verify that your USB is, you know, doing its thing, and then I'll showcase what we got to do on the PS4. Alrighty, so as of right now, you can see the PlayStation 4 update.pub is on your USB. Make sure it's in this exact file directory, PS4 in all capital letters, inside that directory, update in all capital letters, and then PS4 update.pub. Once you have that, what we can do is go ahead and minimize out this window, and then what we're going to do is find where it says safely remove hardware and inject media, and then we're going to safely eject our USB. You never really want to just rip out your USB because sometimes that can cause corruption of files, or you know, your USB may not load when you try to put it into your PlayStation 4 or any device. But right now what we're going to do is go ahead back onto the PlayStation 4, plug in our USB, and we're going to be turning off our Wi-Fi just to ensure that once we update our PS4, we're not downloading the latest firmware, which is 9.03 at right now, because this will basically defeat the whole purpose. But I'll meet you guys back on the PS4 to showcase this process. Alrighty, so as of right now, what you need to do is go ahead and plug in your USB that we just placed the PS4 update.pub file into whatever USB slot on your PlayStation 4. So I'll have probably like a little picture or illustration, you know, showing that now. Once you ensure that your USB is in your PS4, what we're going to do is go to our settings. We're going to go into network, and you want to make sure that if you have connect to the internet option on, so for example, if it's on, please make sure you unticked it so it's off. So basically you should not see the check symbol. The reason why we're doing this once again is to not download the latest firmware, which is 9.03 from Sony servers. Last step, or what we're going to do, if you have any disk in your PlayStation 4, go ahead and eject it out, because we do not want to go ahead and download any media or any software media from the actual disk itself. So what we want to do is just ensure that we're downloading the firmware from our USB device. So right now, what we're going to do is go into our settings, system settings, or excuse me, system software update. And what you should see right now, that the following version of their system software is available is version 9.00. So let's go ahead and hit next. Then you will get another notification saying the system software of the PlayStation 4 will be updated. The PS4 will restart. Go ahead and hit update. And yeah, you want to go ahead and let it do its process. So of course, do not rip out the USB while this is doing its thing. And you know, make sure your plugs are plugged in, because you know, you can corrupt your system or, you know, brick your PlayStation 4. So right now I'm just letting it do its thing. And then what I'm going to do, actually, just to show, you know, the full process and proof of this, is probably mute my mic, but I'll have the recording running for this. But once my system has fully installed to 9.00 firmware, then we're going to go back on the PC, download some other stuff so we're on the same page for this process, and then also get our Azif DNS set up. So I'll meet you guys once this is fully done. Alrighty, so as of right now, you can see that my PlayStation 4 is now restarting. It's rebuilding its database, so that is a good sign. Let me go ahead and turn on my controller itself. You can see here we just got a notification that we're now on 9.00 firmware, so that is a good thing. And just to go ahead and double check that we are on said firmware, let me go into my system information, and voila, you can see that we're on 9.00. So congratulations guys, we're almost there. Now what we're going to do is go back onto our PC and we're going to download some of necessary files, and then we're going to go and get the rest of this stuff done. Alright, so right now we're back onto our PC. Your PlayStation 4 should be on 9.00 firmware if you did everything correctly as of right now. What we're going to do is go ahead and jump back into our web browser of choice, and we're going to be downloading some key essential files for this process. So right now we're going to be on the actual POOBS4. This is the actual PlayStation 4 9.0 kernel exploit made by SpectreDev and Chendo-Chap. So if you want to go ahead and read all of this stuff here, this will be definitely in the link in the description down below. But just to give you guys a quick run up on how to install this, what we're going to do is go and to our code section right here. We're going to download this .zip file, since we're going to be using this exFAT hex.image file to basically write this onto our USB drive. That's why we're going to be going and downloading Win32 disk imager, which is the link right here. This is going to essentially allow us to install this .image or write to it for the actual exploit process. So right now what we're going to do is download it. Don't know why. Oh yeah, so right now we're just going to go ahead and download Win32 disk imager. And from here, we're going to also be covering Al-Azhar's DNS, which we're going to be setting up on our PlayStation 4 soon. We're going to be typing this in our network settings for DNS, so I'll show you guys on how to do that later. But let's go ahead and just focus on the last thing, which is the PS4 Payload Injector. This is made by the Wiz Wiki, and all you got to do is, once this will be in a link in the description down below, is the payload injector, which we're going to be injecting the actual GoldHEN.bin file from. So right now what we're going to do is go to our downloads folder section right here. First thing what we're going to do is install Win32 disk imager. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and hit yes onto this app. Make sure you accept the agreement. You can create a desktop shortcut. I'm not for this process, but I'm going to go ahead and install it. I already had it installed previously, but I'm just running you guys on how to do it. So go ahead and hit finish. And once you hit finish, you should see the Win32 disk image file right here. Next thing what we're going to do is go to the actual PSOOBS4 main.zip, extract our files here, and then we're going to have this into our downloads folder. I'm gonna put this right here. So this is the exFAT hex.image. Just to make this a little more clean, I'm gonna drag this to my desktop right here. So right now what we're gonna do is set this up in terms of writing our image. So right now what I'm going to do, if you have any important documents on your USB flash drive, if you guys remember, we just installed the PS4 update.pub. I'm going to be writing this over on this flash drive here. Additionally, if you have any other flash drives, I recommend going ahead and taking them out right now. So what I'm going to do is safely eject my other USBs. This prevents us from writing any important our USB drive. So right now I am taking out my 8 terabyte hard drive, because that will be very devastating to me, that actual device. But with that being said, right here what we're going to do is navigate to our image file. We're going to go ahead and find the exFAT.image. So right now I'm going to go here, hit open. Now we're going to select our proper USB drive that we're using. So in order to do this, I already know mine start with the letter I. You could go ahead and hit properties, and of course I already know mine was named as PS3 debug. So if you name your something, you know, relatively easy to remember, since as like PlayStation 4 or whatever you name it as, make sure you know the drive letter ID, because if you don't, you could be writing over important information. So right now, let's go back into this thing. We're going to go ahead and write image. Once again, it's just going to confirm writing this to a physical disk can corrupt the device. Are you sure you want to continue? Just hit yes. Right now, I am writing this right now. And basically that is it. Once you have the Win32 disk imager, we could go back onto our PlayStation 4, set up our network settings without Azif's DNS, and then I'm going to show you guys on how to fully jailbreak your PS4 that way. So I'll meet you guys back on the PS4. Alrighty, so right now what you should do is go ahead back onto your PlayStation 4. Since we have already written the .img file to our USB device, what we need to do is go ahead and get our Azif's DNS PlayStation 4 exploit host running. So what we got to do is go into our network settings, make sure your Wi-Fi is enabled, so make sure that you have the check mark here. What we're going to do is go into setup internet connection. Then what we're going to do is go ahead and use Wi-Fi. If you're using Wi-Fi, if you're using an Ethernet or LAN cable, then go ahead. But for this process, I am using my Wi-Fi connection. Next thing, what we're going to do is choose the second option, which is custom. Then it is asking us which Wi-Fi network do we want to use for this process. Right now, I am going to select mine, so here's mine right here. Now it's asking me to type in my password for my Wi-Fi settings. So this will definitely be blocked out and blurred on your screen, but if you need to do this, go ahead as normal and then hit OK once you have typed in your Wi-Fi / router's password to your internet connection source. So once that is fully done as well, it will take a second to load, but for this part, what you want to do is your IP address settings, hit automatic, your DHCP host name, click do not specify. DNS settings, this is what we're going to change. So if it's on automatic, please select manual, and we're going to be typing these exact primary DNS settings. So right now, I've already have them typed, but you will need to type 165.227.83.145 for your primary DNS settings. Once you have that, you can go ahead and hit R2 for done. Then we're going to go to our secondary DNS settings, and you will type the following numbers here: 192.241.221.79. Once you have these two DNS settings enabled or basically set, what we're going to do is hit next. So you may want to pause right here if I went too fast. Next thing what we want to do is go to MTU settings, hit automatic. Proxy server, do not use. Now what we don't want to do is go ahead and test our Wi-Fi settings, make sure that we can still obtain our IP address as well as our internet connection. So right now I am just waiting for it to do its thing, so that is a good signal. Now what we're going to do is scroll all the way to users guide / helpful info. We're going to go to users guide right here, and then what we're going to do is notice that our category selection should say exploit host by Azif or Azif, excuse me, I know I butcher your name sometimes, but what we're going to do is go ahead and cache all first, and this means that all of the payloads within this actual web host itself will be on your PS4, meaning that if your Wi-Fi goes out or the actual DNS itself is not active, you can still run these payloads. So whenever you want to go ahead and mess with your PlayStation 4. So right now it takes a little while to do, but once it has fully cached, I will go ahead and explain the next step on what we need to do. So I'll just stop recording for now. Alright, so as of right now, what you should do is go into the PlayStation 4 9.00 option right now, since all of our data has been cached. Next, what we need to do is load Binloader. And you will see a message right now. It looks like your PlayStation 4 has frozen, but don't worry. What we're going to do is just wait until we get the initial signal to plug in our USB. So right now, I'm just waiting for it to initialize and state that I need to plug in my USB, because this is when the actual exploit is needed. So right now, so once you get this message saying insert USB now, do not close dialog box until notification pops, remove USB after closing it. So right now I'm going to take my USB that we just dropped the .img image in to one of my USB slots on my PlayStation 4s. Alright, so I just plugged in my USB right now. And you can see this USB storage device file system is unsupported. What we're going to do now is go ahead and hit OK. And now we're waiting for our system's payload. So right now what I'm going to do is have my PC in the mix of this, and then I'm going to show you guys how we're going to launch the payload from our PC. So I'll be right back in 1 second. Alrighty, so as of right now, what you should see on your screen, well, it'll be on the right side of my screen once I have this edited out, you should see a message saying awaiting payload. What we need to do now is go ahead onto GitHub once again. Sorry, I didn't cover this early on in the video. However, this link will be in the link in the description down below. We will be downloading this zip file, which will contain all of the payloads for GoldHEN, which will allow us to do things like get debug settings, Homebrew enabler, which basically will allow us to, use Homebrew applications on 9.00, and just various other stuff such as like firmware update blocking, UART enabler, debug trophy support, and if you really want to read all of the key functions, I will have that in the link in the description down below. But once you have the .zip downloaded, what we're going to do is go ahead and unzip it. Well, you can see here I've downloaded it multiple times, but once you have the zip, all we got to do is extract the files to the root of our downloads folder or wherever you have it at. And what we need to do next is go ahead and extract out the PS4 payload injector that we were discussing earlier in the video. And once you have extracted out these two folders, what we're going to do is open up PS4 payload injector, go inside this folder once again, and we're going to launch the exe from here. You will get a little message just saying app version 2 made by the WYSIWYG. Just hit OK. And now what we're going to do is select your language. In my case, I speak English, so this is the language I am utilizing for this video. We're also going to go ahead and select 7.02 as our firmware version. I know it doesn't say 9.00, however, I tested this out 1,000 times already, or not 1,000, but multiple times before this video. And what we're going to do is make sure that our port info is 9020. So if yours is not like that, just go ahead and type it in. Next, what we're going to do is get our PS4's IP address. I already know mine is 10.0.90, excuse me, not 60 but 90. But if you don't know your PS4's IP address, I will have a little illustration or screenshot right now. What you could do is just go into your network settings, and that's how you could figure out your PlayStation 4's IP address. I already know mine's off the back, but what we're going to do is go ahead and hit connect. What should happen if you typed in the right port and your PS4's IP address, you should get a status called basically just saying connected. That's what it says, conectado in Spanish, but it's connected. Next, what we're going to do is go ahead and search for our payload. So my payload is located in my downloads folder right here. So GoldHEN, go into GoldHEN master. Please select the right one. So GoldHEN _2.0B_900. That represents 9.0 firmware. Go ahead and hit OK. Next, you will go ahead and hit send payload. As you can see here, you will have a little notification on the screen saying GoldHEN has officially loaded, coded by Sistro, and then you will say payload has been sent and hit OK. Now that you have the payload setting that is connected and it's been sent, what we're going to do is on the right side of my screen, you could probably see, we're going to verify that if we have debug settings. So if I scroll all the way down, voila, you can see that now we have debug settings. This means that I can install fake package files if I wanted to, other homebrew applications, which I'll get into in a second on basically to test them out. And if we go into my system information, you can see now that my system software is now stating that I am on HEN 9.00 version. And yeah, this is what I was saying before. You could even just pull your IP address from your system information, but you can see here GoldHEN version 2.0B is now on my system. what this means, I could run homebrew applications. Now, this particular PlayStation 4 was already modded in some shape or form. But right now, for example, if I wanted to launch into the homebrew store, it should launch just fine. I'm not too sure if there will be a compatibility issue. I know PlayStation 2 games has fine, but yeah, you can see the homebrew application, even though it didn't fully launch, it did boot up. Usually if you try to run any type of fake package system or file on here, it would not launch. But for example, I know one that surely works is PlayStation 2 games. Don't disregard that error. That's just a typical fake package PS2 game error. However, this is a special version of Gran Turismo 4 for like the Mazda MX-5 edition. So I guess this is sponsoring like the new Mazdas at this time. So this is just some game I had on my modded PlayStation 4 back on like 5.05. And then yeah, what one thing is cool about this exploit is once I've tested this out, it's very stable. It's not like 7.55 at all, which takes you like 30 tries. But yeah, you can see here I have some PlayStation 1 game on my thing right here. I'm not too sure. It's been a while since I even really used the PlayStation 4 because I really haven't been messing with the PS4 scene that much. I've been working on PlayStation Home and, you know, with college and everything of that nature. But yeah, this is essentially how you can jailbreak your PlayStation 4 on, you know, a pretty high firmware. If you're not on 9.00, you got 9.03, this will be the best time to buy a PlayStation 4 because almost pretty much every PlayStation 4 that's out right now will be basically. But yeah, you can see here, this is one of my personal favorite PlayStation 1 titles. Probably a lot of people's favorite PlayStation 1. This is Crash Bandicoot running on the PS4. So now, you know, if you check out some of my older guides as well, I'll probably maybe doing some updates to certain guides for like PlayStation 2 and PS1 backwards compatibility on PS4, or how to, you know, set up fake package files with that. But yeah, this is, you know, Crash Bandicoot running, you know, PlayStation 4 hardware, which is pretty cool. But that being all out the way, if you guys have any questions, you know, about, starting up this process, please let me know in the comment section down below. My name is Nagato, and thank you guys for the love and support, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. Hey everyone, it's me, Nagato's Adventure. Hope you guys did enjoy today's video. With that being out the way as well, I highly do recommend that y'all guys go ahead and follow my social media so you never miss any of the latest hacking guides and tutorials on my channel. By subscribing to me and hitting that notification button as well is another method on how you will know when I drop my latest content, whether it be for the Vita, PS4, PS3, and such and so forth. As well, if you want to be in the mix of things and you want to join my official community, you can join via the link right now showcased on the screen and join my Discord that way. And if you do want to support my channel in any shape or form, you could become a patron. I will have a card right now. But with all of that getting out the way, hope you guys really did enjoy this video, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.
Of course, I love the llamas. Nice and silky smooth.